Episode 92 of People I Know show. Curt Carstensen, joined today by someone I have not seen in, we figure, about 7 years. That was your guess.
Yes.
Boonmee McElroy. I know you as Uwe,
Yes.
but Boonmee is your given name
Yes.
back home in Thailand. What does that mean?
Boonmee is mean that a person born with blessing, a good karma, good blessing.
Have you gone by that name much as an adult?
Yes. Professionally, I am known as Boonmee, but Uwe is my nickname that only my friends, like close friend, know.
Okay, so this is the
So.
test after 7 years. Can I call you Uwe because we're friends, or are we no longer friends? So then you're Boonmee.
No, you certainly can call me Uwe, Curt.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got in contact a couple months ago, I think, and you had some news to share. And I think as a part of that, I realized that when I first met you, which was sometime around 2008 or 9 or 10, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
That you came to the United States, that you didn't really tell your whole story. There's a lot of things that you didn't tell all the new people that you met in the United States right away, or maybe at all. And I think for me, when I knew you back then, you were one of the first people from internationally that I really got to spend a lot of time with over several years, as you came to this country and married one of my good friends.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as I got to know you, maybe I didn't really actually know that much about you. So explain a little bit about maybe what you didn't tell everybody when you arrived to the United States, and why.
Yeah, absolutely, Curt. Well, that's a long story. I'll try to make it as short and sweet as possible. I moved to United States in 2009, and I think, yes, you were right. We probably get to know one another in 2010 when
Mhm.
we become involved with volunteers and different organizations. But prior to moving to United States, a lot of people don't know about me. I was an international life coach and inspirational speaker. And I'd done that for about 5 years between Thailand, Japan, and Singapore. And then I was appointed to become a worldwide seminar leader and inspirational speaker. We run informational program. So at the time, I was 27 years old. I'm supposed to be the youngest in that organization to become international and worldwide. I mean, traveling between United States and European country and Asia. And I decided to put that on hold and then moved to United States to marry my now ex-husband.
Mm-hmm.
So that my journey. When I landed to Rochester, I thought that my experience and my expertise will just, smoothly transition into new life, new culture, but it was not the case. So I kind of forced to start all over again. At the time that I arrived in United States, I only got my GED. That took me a long time to get that GED because I have to work professionally and try to pursue my education. And I took the opportunity when I arrived in Rochester, Minnesota,
Mm-hmm.
to like, well, might as well. If my experience and expertise does not transfer, I'm just going to pursue my education that I have been long dream of having. So I attend Rochester Community and Technical College. And then after that, I moved to Winona State University and pursued my bachelor degree in psychology. And that was an awesome experience. And I thought, wow, I would never be able to get a college degree in a different language.
Yeah.
Have you noticed my English not perfect, but I taught myself how to speak English. And I didn't stop there. I decided to pursue my master degree in social work. And now I have an independent clinical social worker license and work at one of the most prestigious university in the state of Minnesota.
Yeah, I recall once you started to get the more formal education in the United States, that you went all out. You were putting as much time into it and trying to do it, I think, kind of as quickly as possible, while it being not in your first language. I always found that to be so impressive how devoted you were and motivated to accomplish that as soon as possible, because in a way, like you said, you had to kind of start over and doing that, although you were still and are still young, but at an age later than most people in this country set out on
Right.
their advanced education.
Absolutely. All my classes, I was the oldest one in most of my classes. There's a one time that I have to share a classroom in psychology program with the lady at the age of 68 years old. That was the first time that I was not the oldest person in my classroom. So
that was probably somehow inspiring as well, to see someone much older than you still pursuing, learning, and
absolutely. And that woman, her story was she had to put her life on hold, and she raised 4 successful children, and they all grown up, have their own profession and all that. And she said, you know what? You can never get too old to dream. And she chose to come back and pursue her education. So that was an inspiring story. I still remember her.
As you tell the story, going back to your time in Thailand and then traveling internationally, when I hear the term life coach, I think a lot of people take on that profession and can have that label with not much experience, but perhaps still do a great job. Maybe they don't put that much time into it. I guess that's not as relevant right now. But when you describe then also that internationally you were traveling to different countries, speaking on stage, tying into that, I mean, that really creates a much greater level of credibility that you were doing these things. But I wonder why how does you by 27, you said that you had reached a pretty high point and you're going to even be expanding that role before coming to the United States and marrying and living in Rochester. How did you even get to that level? What made you someone that could have been doing that?
Oh my God, yes. I'm glad that you asked this question. Yes, logistically, it doesn't seem to make sense for a person that young to be this high of a level. I would say my life journey is not as tradition as most people assume. That you grew up, you go to high school, you complete college degree, and you earn your certification and experience. My life journey kind of different,
Okay.
And you can learn more about that on my first book. I'm in the middle of writing my book right now.
Okay.
So it should be ready and done to be published around August or September this year. So that will explain how did I came from the girl from can't speak English, have no education, have no evidence of me becoming somebody in this world. But because of I attended life coaching program back in Bangkok in 2004. And from that experience, I learned from the girl who have no sense of direction to anything is possible for myself. And from that experience, I took a leap of faith. And I become the youngest seminar leader that they trained me to become the next person to speak in front of people and inspire people to don't give up hope and continue to dream for yourself. And that was the turning point in my life. So it's not in the linear fashion like most professional people do things, but mine is more like, I would say, a luck of a draw. I took a leap of faith and I just go after my dream. So I become the youngest inspirational speaker back in Thailand.
I've been to events that are probably similar to the ones that you've been putting on and seen people speak. And the people that tend to be speaking at those events do have some sort of amazing story of how they turned their life around or were really in a bad spot. And I think that is what is so important for someone that hasn't experienced maybe something as extreme. And I'm hoping you can think of like one of the stories that you share to kind of give an example here during this conversation. And then we'll leave the rest for the book.
Yes.
But just to get a better sense of what you would be telling someone while you're on stage that really helps them realize whatever they have going on in their life, although challenging and maybe extremely challenging, that it can be overcome as you were able to tell the story of how you overcame something. So is it having those types of stories and really being able to speak passionately and honestly and vulnerably that allows you to do that work?
Yes, absolutely. You will hit the nail on the head. So yes, at the age of 12 years, so I grew up back in Thailand in a small village. We are the poorest of the poor in our village.
Oh.
I recall sometime it was week before I had a meal. I recall the life that I have no electricity. I don't have flip-flop. We have to walk to school about 5 miles round trip back and forth to school and have to do homework under the candlelight. And I got bullied at a young age, throughout, just simply because I was so poor. We don't have clean clothes to wear. And my love for education, my hope and dream to get out of that poverty state have given me the power and the drive that I want to do better for myself. So I ran away at the age of 12 years old.
Really?
And tried to be on my own and raise myself. And I do whatever it takes to survive. I was sleep on the street one time in my life. I have endured a lot of hardship in my life. And I know what it takes to get out from that state of life. When you are hopeless and helpless, when you're truly on your own, what is it that you rely on? Is that belief in yourself and have faith that your life is not going to be about that poverty, that the poor little girl, the girl from the street. I have that belief that this life that given to me, that I have to live to the fullest. I have to use the best out of the one chance that I have. So that my dream is to instill hope in people and inspire people to live life to the fullest. Don't give up and don't let whatever hardship that you have endured in life to dictate your outcome. You can become anyone in this world if you have belief in yourself. And that's what I rely on, is to have faith and believe in myself and not give up.
That's a powerful message, and the fact that you're to this new point in your life where you have a family.
Yes.
You're working.
Yeah.
And you're adding onto your work this, or bringing back. Obviously, you've done it before. The career you created and then left behind, the life that you left behind, and now readapting it to life in this country and trying to expand on it. It's impressive how you continue to just build and build and build off of that start. And like when you tell that story, I can imagine it, but I can't relate at all to what that would be like, struggling so much to even have something to eat. But I guess if I try to just take your perspective of what it might have been, is with hours and days and weeks and years maybe kind of struggling just to have enough to survive, gives you a lot of time to build up a lot of motivation to really overcome it. And the drive must just build and build so greatly that you're able to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want people to think and back home or listening to this podcast and think, oh my God, I don't have that, grand story to tell people. Oh my God, I don't have that hardship. How can I be inspiring? You can't, just simply the fact that you believe in yourself, whatever that you endorse in your life, just keep moving forward and believe that there's greater day waiting for you. There's a better day waiting for you. If you can do just that, you will be more successful and enjoy life more. Then you won't take life for granted. So that is my philosophy. Don't spend time feeling sorry for yourself, I guess, for the lack of better term. Never once that I look back, regardless of what I have to endorse, maybe abuse. I escaped sexual assault many times in my life, and I escaped that. But never once I blame myself. Never once I feel sorry for myself. I keep on believe that there's a better day waiting for me.
And with that belief, did you find it was pretty easy to find positive things even when it was so much negative, perhaps really struggling? Did you come across people or just situations that continue to encourage you? Was that a common theme, or was that even hard to find at times?
I think the combination of both. There's a handful of times that I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. There's a handful of times that I feel angry, angry at life, angry at God, angry at, in general, at the world. Why am I a good person? I do my best. I never cause any burden to anybody. Why all this bad thing happened to me? I have those angry moments, and there's a moment that I feel like I couldn't make it out of this rut. There's a few people that extend the hand of help.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those significant people I also mentioned in my book, and I can share a glimpse of a couple who talked to me that I just met not long ago, who introduced me to this transformational program. That helping hand is it's just what I need in that darkest moment in my life. They invite me to come to this transformational program, and I know there's something there, something more that I want in life. And I took a leap of faith. So it's a combination of accepting the help at the darkest moment and also have a leap of faith, take a leap of faith. I just have faith in me, a sense of knowing that my life is not going to end with this story. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the poor girl who can't survive the poverty, who can't survive the abuse. I knew that I can do more in life. I just need some help sometime. Yeah.
So often I ask people, like, what do they want to do with their life? Like,
Mm,
what's their greatest purpose? And the answer, more commonly than any other answer, seems to be, I want to help people.
mm,
And when I hear your story and how back then and more now, how you recognize that you can use your story to
yeah.
maybe have something click in someone else's mind that they can push through. Is that when it comes down to it? Is that the biggest motivation to help people, or is it something slightly different?
I think that is one of the biggest dream of mine is to continue to help people. And I have the firsthand experience. And I know what it's like. That's a simple kindness that a person can give you and can change the course of your life,
Mm-hmm.
which I also mentioned in my book. But I also know this about myself, regardless of what happened to me. The moment of joy in my life is had to be the moment that I find myself able to help
Yeah.
and inspire others. And that very fulfilling, and has been the theme throughout my life, may it be my education, may it be personal life. I invite homeless people to my house to cook for them. I will pull over on the side street when I see people starving or people need a flip flop. I will give my clothes to people. I will bring food to school to some student who are starving. It's always run through my life. Even back then when I barely can support myself, somehow the most inspiring thing, the most joyful thing that I find myself doing is to help others. And that has been my goal and my dream to continue to help other people in different ways, shape, and form. Even in my own profession as a mental health counselor, I help people every day. In life coaching, this time that I go back to life coaching, in part I missed it. I missed the the feeling of being empowered, being inspired to see other people happy and success. I just want to see that. You don't always get that from mental health. Sometimes people come to us, to a therapist, to a counselor when they are in crisis.
Yeah.
When we help them get out of that crisis state, sometimes they didn't come back. You don't get to see the end product.
Yeah. Okay.
It can be a hard work. and can be what do you call it? I love what I do, but it can be draining at
For
times.
sure.
Yeah. But coaching is you are there with your client from the beginning until the end. You know, whatever that goal they want to achieve in their life, may it be losing weight or build confidence, or I need that push to help me start my own business. I just so afraid to take the leap, you know, the big leap, quit my job and open my own business. It is a huge hurdle to overcome. So for you to be that person next to them, helping them, coaching them along the way and see them success, that is fulfilling. It is my happy place, I guess. I love to do that more. So
You've always been a very happy person, really bubbly, full of energy. I do want to go back though to one thing that you just mentioned. It gave me a thought as I go out. Obviously most places you go, you're seeing people that are in need, asking for help, asking for someone to give them something, and sometimes I do, but maybe not often enough. Obviously, I think most people could do it more. And so that I think about that sometimes. I help some people sometimes, and I don't even know why I choose some over others. But for me, I've never been that person. So I've never been in that situation. So I think sometimes not being the person standing at the corner of the street asking for something, I have no idea what it's like to be that person. But from your story, it sounds like you have been that person. So then when you see someone else doing something that you once did before, it must resonate with you way differently, of course, than it would with someone that hasn't been there.
Absolutely. Sometimes I get, eyebrow raised, like, what are you doing? Don't do that. Maybe people don't want to be bothered. Sometimes when I go to the restaurant, we have the leftover, right? We put in the box. And I know sometimes we never go back and eat them. If I see a homeless person, they need a meal, they need a good meal, I will pull over and give my food to a homeless person because I know what it's like to be hungry. I know what it's like to be out in the cold. I've been there. So you have no idea. Just somebody pull over a random person, just ask you, how are you? Do you need anything? Small little thing that you have at home that doesn't mean much to you, it means a lot to people. I knew what it's like to walk a barefoot 5 miles a day to go to school. Just a worn out flip flop that you have in your closet mean nothing to you, but could mean $1 million to someone who have to walk on the hot concrete. So that small, simple act of kindness can go a long way. And that has resonated with me throughout my life because I had that direct experience. I was that person who had no food to eat. I was that person who get bullied because the way I look, because how dirty I look, because I was poor. I know what it like to sleep on the street behind the ATM machine, afraid that I might get raped. So when you've been there, you just have this profound understanding of how much life is so fragile and you don't take things for granted.
When you tell your story that way, I think it's a reminder of what so easy to forget if I see someone that seems to not be in a great situation, whether or not I help them, just the thought that might cross through my mind is, it's never to what this person might be able to become from this moment. I think maybe it's easy to judge someone that maybe they're always going to struggle, but like you're not struggling anymore. But if people didn't help you sometimes,
Right.
as much as they did, then you might have been struggling forever, or maybe
Exactly.
at some point don't survive whatever situation that you'd find yourself in. But knowing that there is some percentage of the people that are really needing some help
Mm.
that could do something, their own version of what you're doing, and become a great success and be empowering to other people about how they came out of that situation. They need to come out of that situation and they need people to help them. So
Yeah.
having this conversation with you right now is going to allow me to reframe how I view someone in that situation and be more and more helpful. I realize I need to be, because I who knows, that could be the next Boonmee McElroy on
Exactly.
the side of the street there, and not whatever I might have assessed that person as before. Just knowing that there's potential for anyone to come out of a situation, by the way that you're telling your story, at least,
Mm.
like you did nothing wrong. You didn't make bad choices at all necessarily to be in a bad situation. I think a lot of times we judge someone. They probably did some things that put themselves in the situation, so
Right.
maybe they don't deserve help or whatever.
Mm.
However, we might tell the story to so that we don't feel like we have to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But there's certainly people that just had a tough break and are in a bad spot
Yeah.
and really need help, that maybe a lot of us, like I had the help when I was younger. I wasn't struggling. My life's been pretty easy, I think.
Yeah.
But of course, not everyone's is like that.
Right. And sometimes we just, put too much thought into like, why should I help? We question a lot. And, helping, it doesn't mean that you have to go out of your way too much.
Mhm.
It could be a simple phone call to your friend who's going through divorce, or who just lost their job, who just lost their loved ones. A helping hand, an act of kindness, it doesn't require much. It could be, pay for someone meal one time.
Mhm.
Sometimes we think that, oh, I barely can survive. I barely can support my own personal life. How can I help people? We think this the helping act is a grand thing, a grand gesture. Oh, I have to wait until I have $1 million. I have to wait until I become rich, then I can help people. No, helping doesn't always equate to money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just simply just being kind to another human being.
This is going to impact me. I really I'm hopeful, and I want to have some things that I've done differently to tell you the next
Mm.
time we do this or speak
Yeah,
in
definitely.
some months or a couple of years, just to say, okay, these are the things that I did differently after this conversation. So much of my podcast is I like to invite people on as guests that
Mm-hmm.
they had a great impact on me previously, and I want to share that story. I think for you, like the greatest impact might be this conversation right now, and
Oh,
how
thank you.
it affects how I do some things in the future. Let's talk more about your work. You touched on it, and the shift to add the own your own business, a way to help people and
Mm.
really put a focus into that, and make that your livelihood. So are you doing both of them right now? You still have your job and you're adding this, or how is that gonna transpire and transition?
Yes, yes, I am certainly continuing to do mental health counseling as a full-time job, and my personal life coaching and inspirational speaking. It just my side business for
Mm-hmm.
now, of course, until
Yeah.
it get big.
Yeah.
So hopefully it get big one day, so I don't have to do two jobs.
Yes.
But I don't see this as a job. I see it as something that I do for myself, for my own soul. It makes me happy
Mhm.
that I can make a difference, that I can bring joy and happiness in people's lives. So I don't see it as a job at all. I just see it something that enrich my own personal life. And I'm in the point, like you said, I am no longer struggling. So I'm in the point that I can give back, I can pay it forward, I can bring my life experience to inspire people, to instill hope, especially in this time of crisis, maybe the pandemic. People lost a lot of jobs,
Yeah.
and we are in the different time in our era right now
For
that
sure.
hope and kindness and love and live life with purpose is, I think, is on demand right now. We need to talk about hope. We need to talk about belief and faith again. I think we lost that somehow through all this crisis in life. We lost that life's still wonderful. Life's still full of promises, still full of hope. We just need to talk about it more.
I think something that's happened in recent decades, probably the last decade, is people's focus so much has through social media and
Mm,
like putting yourself out there. The focus has become very much on the ego and looking at how try to make people perceive you a certain way. Like
mm,
that, there's certainly a risk of that, and I think a lot like Instagram culture
yeah,
is that's really gotten I think people's priorities shifting. I guess I don't need to judge to say it's worse, but I think the danger is for so much of humanity based on books I've read and stories that have been told and research that's been done. Like it's the community. Like you really had to help everybody. Everybody helped each other,
mm-hmm,
and the focus wasn't really on the self. At least that's my impression. But as technology is
yeah,
advanced and things have become easier in a lot of ways for a lot of people, the focus has really shifted to the self and not
yep,
so much others.
mm-hmm,
And I think your story and taking on the career shift and adding the side gig to really help people again in
mm-hmm,
that way. I'm hoping that you can maybe help more people realize that that is what will cause more happiness, is to worry less about yourself and to focus on what you can do for the others around you.
yeah, absolutely. And that is my hope and my dreams. Not so much about open this business for money, but it's actually to enrich my soul, my
Mm-hmm.
personal life, my personal growth. And also, like you said, it's just time for us to talk about positive things. We hear so much negative and self-absorbed culture,
Yeah,
right? So, and what do we know about happiness? We feel the most happy when we can share with others,
yeah, for
right?
sure.
So I have a wonderful life story. I have gone through from somebody who have no sense of direction to anything is possible. What is the better way to share that with people? Keep it to myself is not going to do anything, right? So that's why I want to share good news. I want us to start talking about positive things, talk about hope, talk about belief, talk about inspiring things. That's my goal.
And that's exciting for me because I think different episodes I'm able to do that in my podcast is really share some inspirational ideas
Yeah.
and some inspirational people.
Mm.
That's been the purpose of it. So reconnecting with you today, it's exciting to see what you're able to do with this, and I wonder how far in the future, maybe before you're on a stage again,
Mm.
uh, doing expanding from the 4 or 5 countries that you spoke at internationally and
Yeah.
adding the United States as
Yeah.
one of them. Is that something that you can just feel like that's coming for you again, and you really want to get in front of a lot of people to share what you've learned and to inspire them?
Yes, absolutely. I see it's just a matter of time, for people to call me and, go out and talk. I I would say my niche is I want to inspire young people, like university, colleges, people who are about to graduate or in the transition in life, like what is next for me? What is possible for me? It's just a great joy for me to share my story. So really just give me a call,
Mm.
look at my website, and my information is out there, and I'm ready to share my story. I'm ready to spread hope and spread joy and happiness. Anybody, any agency or organizations or university and colleges that want me to come and talk about belief and hope and live life with purpose, I'm your guy. So
In case I forget before we end our conversation, remind me the website where people can find you. And then when your
yes.
book eventually comes out, how will people know about it?
Oh, sounds great. Yes. My website, my company called Above and Beyond Coaching LLC. You can certainly type in worldwideweb.aboveandbeyondcoachingllc.com.
Mm-hmm.
And my email address and phone number is on there. Just send me an email or give me a phone call. And please do leave me a voicemail because so many spam call right now. So I will
Yeah.
not answer your phone call or call you back if you don't leave me a voicemail. Tell me who you are, what are you calling in regard coaching or speaking, so on and so forth. And what the other one you asked again?
Just
Oh, my book.
yeah, that if
Yes.
they're on
Yeah.
your, is there like a social media type of page to follow you on at this point, so that when you're saying your book is out,
Yes.
that people will know, or is there another way that?
Absolutely. I also have a Facebook account, exactly my business called Above and Beyond Coaching LLC Facebook. So you can just, join me on there. I will make announcement when my book published, and it will be sell on Amazon.com.
Okay.
But I cannot tell you more than that. I don't know what the book title will be yet. So we are in the middle of making it right now. I'm so excited.
Okay.
Very excited to share my life story. And my hope and dream is to, again, inspire people to live life with purpose and find your true purpose. That when you find your true happiness.
You're going to do it. You are doing it. You're going to continue to do it. I wonder. I want to take it back to your personal life a little bit here.
Mhm.
You have 2 young children.
Yes.
So with using like these same lessons from your life and what you're trying to do with people that you work with at your main job, or the people you'll come across and have come across through the life coaching and speaking events, you have 2 little boys in your home for now and for many years to come. What types of messages are you trying to get through to them at this young age, and how do you hope to make sure they're raised in a way that they continue to carry on what you're so motivated to do?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope they learn by, observing their mama at home, right? The one thing that I want my boys to know, Micah and Marcus are my boy. I love them. They are the reminder of what a wonderful life I have so far.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what happened, when I come home, I see their smile. Oh my God, the weight and the stress that I have on my shoulder just melting away, just seeing them. So they are my reminder of uh, um, how beautiful my life is, because they just bring so much joy into my life. And one thing I want them to definitely learn is that don't take life for granted. I want them to live life to the fullest. I want them to just go after their dream. Just don't give up. Just keep moving forward. You might having some setbacks in life. They're part of life. But don't stop moving forward. Just keep moving forward. And I hope that my book also speak about that as well. So when they grow up to the point that they can understand, that kind of book. So hopefully they know who their mom is, and hopefully they can take some of those hopeful messages that I try to instill in them to just enjoy life, go after your dream, have faith, believe in yourself, and keep moving forward.
You're just so positive, inspiring. I have the thought as well. So when you moved to this country, you didn't have any family here. You were on your own with your husband at that time, and building friendships with people like me that he knew, and expanding that. I think once you started going to school and really making some of your own friends that way, I'm wondering, as like your boys, you'll take them to Thailand at some point, I'd imagine.
Yes.
And like to hold on to your culture and pass it on to them growing up in this country, and now you've been in this country for over a decade. Like how does that impact your life, the different cultural experiences you've had now for so many years in different parts of the world?
I think it has enriched my life. I am able to expand my horizon. My culture, it doesn't disappear just because I left my country. My values and my belief that instilled in me at a young age still continue on, such as respect and don't take life for granted. Always be kind. Always have good intentions, because when you have good intention, you will also attract good things in your life. And that's what I live by every day. If I am think of good things, speak about good thing, all good thing gonna come back to me. So I'm very picky about people that I pick and choose in my life. I'm very picky of what kind of conversation I want to engage in. If it's not positive, it is weigh me down. I don't spend much time on that. That's just my life philosophy, because life is too short. It's too short to spend on sad story or negative stuff. Yes, we have a lot of negative thing happen in our society, but you just pick and choose how much you're gonna consume and have that boundaries. And I do mean it when I say I'm picky. If I don't hang out with you and I didn't call you and want to spend time with you, it's just a sign that I need more positive stuff in my life.
Wait a second, though, because
No,
that
I'm
isn't
kidding.
always.
No, I'm
But
kidding.
that's an interesting point, though. I don't think this is where you're going with it exactly.
No,
But
yeah,
I find, like with you, I hadn't spoken to you in many years.
right.
I never had a thought, meaning that you had a problem with
No,
me
no,
or
no,
that we
not what I
should be
meant.
talking more. I know that's not
Yeah.
what you meant, but I do fear that with some people, some relationships in our life, it's difficult to manage everything and keep the same pace. You're never going to keep the same pace of
Right.
correspondence with everyone all the time. A lot of life
Mm-hmm.
situations change, and for whatever reason,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we don't talk to someone as much as we once did. And always, my best friendships are with the people that recognize that that's no big deal that we haven't spoken in months or years. But when
Right.
we see each other again, it feels like it was just yesterday.
Exactly.
And
We
then we
pick
can
up
catch
where
up,
we left off.
pick up, and it's not. There's 0% animosity towards the fact that we haven't stayed in touch. And I feel like I've come across people, and I fear that there are people that think about how long it's been and allow that to make them think negatively, even just a little bit about that person, that, oh, they haven't called in so long or something like that. If that's happening, and if you're doing that, if someone's listening to this and they're the ones that are doing that, just please try to release that from yourself. It'll work wonders, is a message I want to share.
Yeah. I think the idea behind this is, your life matter, your happiness matter, right? So, and you have control over how much negative you will allow into your life. And you pick and choose what kind of experience you want. And that what the message I want my boy to, yeah, don't dwell into negative too much and have limitation on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise we will forget how wonderful life is, right? How lucky we are, how many blessings we have in life. Because we focus too much on the negative, and when we forgot to talk about a positive thing that happened in our life. I have a wonderful husband. I have a gorgeous babies. They are so handsome. Oh, they are the joy of my life. And I have a great job. And I am successful in everything that I do. So, I mean, if we don't talk about a good thing that happened in our life every day, count little small blessing that you have, then you forget how blessed you are. So I guess that's my point, is that focus on what you want to have in your life.
Your message is so positive, and I just had a thought of a story that comes back with that involves you. And I've never been in great need, but when I moved away from Rochester after living there for 5 or 6 years, and then when I'd go visit, I haven't visited much in the last few years, but when I'd go visit, one of my friends would say, stay at my place, and so I'd do that. And for 2 or 3 times, I think, I stayed with you and your ex-husband, and I don't know, I got back to your place late. You two were sleeping, but you told me that there was some food in the refrigerator. And back then you used to cook like 2 different meals because his taste for food was different. Like, you like really spicy food.
Yes.
And he didn't. And I think you told me which was which. And back then I didn't eat a whole lot of spicy food.
Right.
And I think I got him confused. So I got back late, and you told me there's food in the refrigerator, and I made whatever Thai dish that I warmed it up, and I started eating it. It was so incredibly hot and spicy. And I had these competing feelings. One was, this is like the hottest thing I've ever eaten in my life. The other was, it was so good.
I know.
And I wanted to scream. Like, I wanted to run outside and scream. It was so hot. I thought the only way to keep it from burning was the sensation of like eating more just briefly made it not be hot for like a split second. So then I kept on wanting to eat it. I didn't know what to do. It was excruciating and delicious. And I always remember that story of, like, I think my tolerance for spicy food has raised over the years, but that was one time where I was just shocked by it. And your cooking, it was so good. And just introducing that type of food into my life, but also just, that's a story of your generosity. Like, Curt, come over, stay, here's food. I mean, that never clicked with me as like, you would do that for a lot more people, even if you didn't know them as well, based on what you've said.
I would do it for a stranger. You can ask my husband if anybody in great need, if anybody need a house to stay, need a place to survive, need a meal, I will cook for you in a heartbeat. I will invite you to my home in a heartbeat
Hmm.
because that's who I am. That is the core of my being. Right, helping people is not new to me. Even when I barely have anything to eat, I will
Hmm.
find my way to help people in some way, shape, and form, and that is my true calling. I am here to help and to empower people. And that is my message to just continue to do good thing and keep moving. Keep believing in yourself and speak up a good thing. And good thing will come to you. And the same thing, the message that I talk to my client in the therapy world, you know, am I consumed with a lot of negative thought? May it be self-blaming, self judging, it just take up the space in our mind and we have no space for any good thing to happen.
Hmm.
So there you go, it's mental management. Yeah, if you want to speak therapy, you have technique we call, mental management, thought management technique. But in coaching world is that you speak what you want.
Hmm.
You want happiness, you talk about happiness. You want joy, you talk about joy. You want love, you speak about love. That's it, just the simple method.
And you seem to just really have a good handle how to do that so well. Uh, I think let's get to the final uh, segment of my podcast. I like
Mm,
to I usually do one or two. One's called a personal growth segment, but I feel like this whole conversation has been telling your continued growth.
mm,
And the other one that I used to do more of is called the being wrong segment, which is really just another way of saying like a story that you've changed your mind, or you can look back and say,
mm,
the way I used to do this,
mm,
this wasn't the best way, and I've really drastically made a shift in my life.
mm.
So I'm wondering, through your personal growth, if you have a story of where you came to the realization that the way you used to think about something, the way you used to do something, that is no good.
Mm.
And perhaps something we haven't talked about yet. Does the story come to mind when I talk about a really drastic change of mind like that?
I don't have specific story that will speak directly to that, but I can speak to the theme that I experienced
Mm-hmm.
in a big chunk of my life is the theme of anger, like I mentioned briefly early on, because I endured so much hardship in my life.
Yeah.
So for a long period of time, I was angry. I was angry. I feel unfair. I angry at the world, at God, at everybody. It's so unfair why all this bad thing keep happening to me
Mm-hmm.
when I'm a good person. I do all the right thing. I conform. I follow the rule. I never done any wrong thing in my life, but yet I never get any blessing.
Yeah.
So, but after the life coaching program that I attend, and also life experience and maturity, right? And you learn through mistake. I look back, I think what I have changed is I have to let go of that anger because the more I hold on to that anger, I won't allow anything to come into my life.
Yeah.
So sometimes we hold on to our righteousness, right? About worldview, about perspective. We hold on so tightly, and then in the same sense, you didn't allow a new thing to happen in your life. So I think what I learned is to learn to let go of that anger, let go of that righteousness about like why this happened to me, this is unfair, yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
When you let go of your old perspective, a new one opens up.
Is there a certain method that you use to be able to release
Whew.
some of that anger that helped, or is it just it hits you one day and you start to get better at it?
I think I would assign it to one of the coaching transformational experience through coaching that I had. Also show me that I do have a blind spot, which blockages that prevent us from seeing new things,
Mm-hmm.
from seeing the world in a different perspective. So I think that's one of my business too, is to help client identify what is the mental blockages
Yeah.
that they have. May it be in regard to finance or in regard to confidence or in regard to dreams and hope that they want to do for a long time, but they will seem to have that, courage to go over that uh, fear or um, blockages. But that's the result of they don't know what they don't know. They don't know what is
You
a
can't.
mental blockages, right? You cannot fix something that you don't know
No,
exists.
for sure.
That's what I call blind spot. So I have learned my own personal blind spot, and I was able to let go of that and create a new perspective for myself.
Are you able to explain what that blind spot was in brief so I can understand what a blind spot could be?
A blind spot is as a fixed story that you told yourself over and over and over, and over time you forget that was a story that you invented
Mm-hmm.
at some point in your life. For example, a person who failed to have successful relationship, they didn't realize that their story behind was, I don't deserve good thing to happen to me. People always take advantage of me. I couldn't make good judgment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not good at this. I'm not good at that. I am this. I am that. And that story get amplified through years of telling yourself the same story. Like, you see, I'm not good enough. You see, I don't deserve good thing happen to me.
Some little thing happens,
Mhm.
and then that story just gets told again
Over and over.
overpowers all the other things that might be
Yeah.
more
And
positive.
absolutely. And over time, that story become the reality
Mm-hmm.
because you are what you think, right?
Yeah.
The more that you think about certain idea or thought or perspective about yourself, about your life, the more you see it in the reality. So I know it's just hard to say it in a short, simple ways. It took a process of coaching for me to identify what my mental blockages are. When we have more than one story, depending on what aspect of our lives. So because I grew up poor, I have a lot of bad thing happen to me. My one of my mental blockages was I am not enough.
Mm.
I don't deserve good thing. And that belief, that story that I told myself when thing doesn't go or um, work out my way, right?
Yeah.
If thing doesn't work out the way I hope, then I go back to that story. You see, I don't deserve it.
And
You
now,
see, I don't deserve it.
and now, do you tell yourself that you do deserve good things?
I am the good thing. I am the goodness in this world. That's my whole new story. I don't wait for good thing to happen to me because I am the good thing that happened in this world. That's my new story. I am that person. I want to spread joy. I want to spread goodness. I believe in that. And throughout my life, I never take advantage of anybody. I never done any bad thing or have bad intention.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I question myself? My new story is I am that goodness in this world, and I need to speak more about my goodness rather than just keep it to myself. So that's one of the inspiration that I want to open this business. To open the business just to allow me to be legit in this culture. I mean, if people want to pay me, they want to know they pay to the right company or legit. They don't just want to hand you a free money.
No.
So I want to open a business so that I can do transaction in a legal fashion. But without this business, Kurt, I'm still doing
Yeah.
me. I'm still spreading joy. I'm still helping people in every way, shape, and form. You have witnessed how many people I have helped, how many people that I take into my
Yeah.
my home, just because I can, and I want to spread that goodness and joy in people's life.
So it's a slight shift by having a name for it and a website
Yep,
and an
pretty
LLC, but you're still who you are. You're adapting to
Mhm.
the American way to go and make it a business and
Yeah,
make a
everybody asks for
lifestyle.
your license right nowadays. Like, what is your business number? What is your license number if they were to pay me to do something or to coach them or to
Yeah.
come speak in the event? So yeah, I just okay. Here's my business license number.
And now you're in position to do it, and I'm excited to hear how this goes.
Yeah.
I think you tie together all the experiences that we've talked about. You've got your psychology degree in public health, mental health, and with your background and now the life coaching, it all just ties in so well
Mhm.
that people with all sorts of backgrounds and cultures and a couple languages
Yeah.
and whatever's going on in their mind, you're in as great a position as anyone I've met to really help someone turn that corner from whatever they might be struggling with to having more and more success.
Absolutely. Yes, you are right on. I am not just saying that I'm good. I am good. I have the certification. I have an independent license in helping people to, to deal with a mental illness. And I am also a certified trauma focused therapist. But when I do my life coaching business, the method and modality are different. That's all.
Okay.
But of course, what I already learned and gained and the skills and insight and knowledge, you're gonna get it all. We just use different technique and method in helping clients get what they want.
Boonmee, it's been so good to see you again and reconnect, and I look forward to all these great things that'll continue to come from you and observing from afar and interacting again with you in some way
Hmm.
in person more often in the future. So thank you.
Hopefully, thank you so much. I hope I can come back again when my book published,
Yeah.
so we can talk more.
Yeah, and then you can tell a little bit more about what's in the book to really get people to buy it and read it.
Yeah, my book will focus on, a snapshot of my life journey. And along this book, I want to instill the message that I have been saying over and over here is to don't give up hope, believe in yourself, take a leap of faith, and keep moving forward. And you will get good things happen in your life.
Awesome. Thank you, Uwe.
Thank you so much, Kurt, for having me today.